And going live and realizing I am losing my hair. Holy crap. Talk about getting old on a Good Friday. It is a Good Friday for those of you who celebrate. It is a Good Friday for those of you who are here on a Good Friday, and it is Friday. So I've got a couple of different things I want to dive into this week. This has been kind of an interesting week in that I did not, as I look back, I didn't post as much stuff as I thought I was going to post as I went through, and now I'm looking at the image that's going to show up, and it's going to look like I'm a cross between a chimpanzee and a human being with my arms scratching my head. I have yet to figure out how to properly be prepared for LinkedIn Live, and it demonstrates lack of being photogenic and lack of being being prepared. But at a minimum, I'll have fun with it. At a minimum, I'll have fun with it. So why don't we hit on a couple of the items for this week? So started with an Einstein quote. It's awesome to start with a quote from Einstein. And I think it's funny that there are a lot of quotes that get attributed to Einstein that he never said. So I don't know if this is one of those, but genius is making complex ideas simple, not making simple ideas complex, says the guy with a bunch of, well, actually, that was originally Einstein, but here I am with a bunch of drawings and stuff laying out over my head. And trust me, which is always you never want to hear what comes after trust me, but my intention is to make this stuff that I talk about and the things that I put on the whiteboard as simple as possible, primarily because I want people to be able to go out there and execute. And execution happens, as you've heard me say many times, through the combination of clarity plus focus. Clarity plus focus. And what's really cool, if you think about clarity and focus in the context of a lens, as you focus in on something, things become more clear. As things become more clear, your attention gets more focused and things become more clear. And it just becomes this cycle. And you can zoom in and out of any scenario. So you can zoom. We're going to zoom out for a second. You can zoom out to a couple of these diagrams, and this is basically your revenue engine: demand, acquisition, retention, and expansion. Looks good on a whiteboard. How do you put it into practice? Well, let's figure out which problem we're solving for. Are we solving for an acquisition problem? If so, let's focus on acquisition, the things around there. If we're not getting enough to get ourselves into the point where we can solve for the acquisition problem, then let's start talking about demand. But either way, we know. And if we focus our time, energy, and attention on the one thing that we're going to need to work on, then our likelihood of executing starts to increase significantly because we have clarity where the attention is, we focus, and then we have further clarity where we're going to put time, energy, and resource. Another model up here at the top in the black, there is, and I want to thank John Way for helping me rename this. I used to call this the chasm of death. Now it's chasm of doom. But as we go through the wave, at the top of the wave, these are things that we can do that are high impact, low effort. They have a high impact on others. They're low effort on our side. We're delivering a lot of value. In the next top of the wave, these might be high impact, high effort, but they bring a lot of joy to us. If I can spend the time doing things that are high impact, low effort, and high impact, high effort, but bring a lot of joy, I'm going to be in a really good place. What I want to avoid is this chasm of doom, this thing that's down here at the bottom, those things that are high effort, don't bring a lot of joy to me, and I might even perceive them as low impact. What's amazing when you build teams is you can find people whose waves are green while yours are black, and then magic can happen. It's kind of like what happens when your chocolate gets in my peanut butter. Anyhow, so simple. Genius is making complex ideas simple, not in making simple ideas complex. And I am working on this in the context of simple shapes and few words. So simplifying things in business, in your role, and in life. What does this look like? Well, yeah, I think it begs the question, how do you complicate things? Well, the way that you complicate things is just keep adding stuff to it. You add additional variables, you add additional components, you add additional parts. I was listening to Peter A.C.T.S podcast this week, and he talks about F1. And if you're into F1 or just getting into F1, the last 30 minutes of that podcast are absolutely phenomenal. And it gets into the basically variables about what makes F1 work, where strategy starts to impact things, and how important driver is. But again, getting into the detail over there, Peter breaks it down and starts to simplify F1. Well, when you look at an F1 engine, you'll see that there are a lot of moving parts. There are more moving parts in that F1 than there are, I think, in my Jeep. There's certainly more moving parts there than there are in my skateboard. So we take the parts away, we can start to simplify. Those things can still do the same piece. I can't get much downforce on the skateboard, but by doing certain things with the skateboard, um, I can do a couple of tricks, not many tricks, but anyhow, simplify things like business, life, and sales by reducing the number of things that you're doing. If you reduce the number of things that you're doing, have clarity around what you're going to do, focus your attention on those things, you will drive up execution. And I think the thing that a lot of people miss is they talk about it, they don't go out and do the work. Go out and do the work. What does it mean to do the work? I do the work every day. Some of that work works, some of the work doesn't work. Some of the work's working, but every day doing the work, putting more content out, engaging in more posts, engaging in more conversations. I had some amazing conversations this week with different people relative to either helping them inside their business and building sales capability inside the organization, or just helping them think a bit differently about how they're building what they are building inside so that they can do it. You do a couple of different things. I've got a podcast that's out there where anybody can go and listen to content. I have tools that are out there where anybody can download those tools and they can do the work on their own, or they can work with me and I'll help them do the work. But ultimately, the work needs to get done if we want to make progress, if we want to execute. So we can simplify things by reducing the number of things that we're doing, get really focused on the type of work that needs to be done, get out there, do the work. And then once you've done the work, go out there and reflect on it to determine, is it actually making the impact that you expect? Go to Jim Collins, stop what you would not start. If you go through and you're doing this work, you realize it isn't making the impact and you wouldn't start doing that work again. It's okay to stop. It's okay to stop. It is okay to stop. All right. What is sales? So let's simplify sales. What is sales? Sales is about connecting the dots between a problem and a solution. That's it. It's problem solving at its core. Some of these problems are known, some of them are unknown, meaning I either know that I have a problem or I don't know that I have a problem. There could be a problem persisting. Like I had no idea a couple of weeks ago that the ejector pump in our basement was going to fail just before family was coming in for my mom's birthday celebration. No idea. But all of a sudden I knew. And when I knew, it was something that needed to be fixed. And fortunately, we were able to get a plumber out here who could come in and fix it. So connecting the dots between a problem that is known or unknown, there's an experience that will happen that will change something from unknown to known. The ejector pump failed. To a solution that is known or unknown. Initially, the solution may be unknown. I knew the solution was out there. I just had to get a hold of a couple of plumbers. The problem I ran into was finding plumbers who had availability to be able to come out and take care of this, for want of a better term, crappy situation in time. Anyhow, Sales is about connecting the dots between a problem and a solution. Some of the problems are known, some are unknown, some solutions are known, some are unknown. Our job as sales professionals is to help accelerate that dot connecting, accelerate speed to impact on those dots being connected for our customers. And we should be fairly compensated for that work. We should be fairly compensated for that work. And that fair compensation comes in the form of an exchange of value, exchange of value. So, speed to impact is more important than going fast. Speed to impact is more important than going fast. And this is where I offended some of the PETA folks, some of the people who grew up loving Dumbo. We talked about this in the context of how do you eat an elephant? And I can assure you, I have never had elephant. I've never eaten an elephant. But as you know, the saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. How do you eat a crap sandwich? One bite at a time. You've got to work your way through it. You've got to understand what the goal is. What's the objective? What are we trying to do? And then let's start taking incremental steps to address it. One bite at a time. A number of years ago, I was talking with Dan Cockrell about this. And as we were joking about it, I made the comment to him about, what happens if you take a bite out of multiple elephants? Well, ultimately, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a lot of pissed off elephants and you're going to have a stampede on your hands. So if you're trying to do too many things and you're just irritating a lot of the people around you, stop what you would not start. Go out there, eat one elephant at a time. Now, on my end, I always like to test three things. There's always three. And the reason why there will always be three, one, it's easy for me to keep track of them. Two, I'm never solely dependent on one of those things working out. Never solely dependent on one of those things working out. Place bets. And that should help me. If two of those three things work out, wow, it's going to be an amazing year. Things are going to be really good. If one of those things work out, live to fight another day. If all three of them work out, wow, we're building scale. If none of them work out, then I've done a really crappy job at figuring out where my tests are. But I always like to have three tests going on at any given point in time. Making an impact is so much better than doing things really, really fast. And I shared a video. I'm getting into the whole Instagram Reels thing. So let me know in the comments if you've had a chance to watch any of those Instagram Reels. I know that it is Friday. It's a holiday. It's late in the day for some of you. It's 2:00 in the afternoon for those on the East Coast. It is just before lunchtime for those of us on the West Coast, and late in the evening for those of you who might be joining or listening in from the UK. So to recap the week, simplify. You can simplify things by taking away. Tactically speaking, we start taking away in order to simplify things. You can simplify your business, your life, and the things you do as an individual. We used, from a Whiteboard Wednesday perspective, a definition around what is sales to simplify that definition so that people can get better at going out and executing. And then I reinforce this with the speed to impact is greater than going fast. Speed to impact is greater than going fast. I hope you had an awesome week. I hope you have a great weekend. If you're celebrating a holiday this weekend, I hope you have an awesome holiday weekend with family and friends. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking differently about your